I'm sorry. I think it's great. Hello, just like usual. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Naufal and my ID is 2321010600025 and I'm from Dubai too. And I'm here to fulfill my midterm assignment on academic reading by Mr. Sandi Ferdiansyah. Without further ado, let's check it out. So on today's video, we as students needed to analyze and summarize the article that Mr. Sandi has gave to us. So we need to analyze each by each section, and total we have 5 sections on today's video. The first one is title. Analyze how the title is constructed. Number 2 is abstract. Number 3 is introduction. Number 4, literature review. And the last is research method. I've actually break down that article and analyze it. Mr. Sandi gave us as a PDF format, so I needed to convert that article from PDF to Microsoft Word document, and then I differentiated each by each section into different colors to better understanding and helps me easier to filter that part of article. Move to the next section. So let's start with the title. Promoting vocabulary building, learning motivation and cultural identity representation through digital storytelling for young Indonesian learners of English as a foreign language. First, I found out promoting as a purpose, and the second two is vocabulary building, learning motivation and cultural identity as a construct. And then I found out through digital storytelling as its method, young Indonesian learners of English as its context, and the last is as a foreign language as its focus. Next to the abstract, we have 4 part. Let's start with this issue. Digital storytelling is globally accepted approach in teaching English. However, in the Indonesian EFL context, little attention has been paid to DST as a pedagogical approach, particularly its potential to create a bridge between the students' primary culture and that of English culture. See, we have a keyword, little attention has been paid to DST. It is enough to say this is a main issue or the main problem. The purpose is we report on how DST helped Indonesian junior school students make meaning in English through a local culture-based DST narrative project. Next to the yellow one is a method. Researchers use qualitative data collection methods, including focus group interviews, students' reflective journals, classroom observation, and the DST product itself. Finally, multimodal transcription and thematic contents analysis were used to interpret the data. Last, we have the findings. Let me read it for you guys. Participating in these activities also increased student motivation. Working collaboratively in a group helped them to make meaning and focus on topics that resonated with them personally, reduce stress, and allow them to focus on communication. We found that 3 main part of it. The first one is main issue as a red, empirical studies or evidence is a yellow, and research gap is a green. Let me read it for you guys. What is the main issue of this article? They generally focus on exercise-based language activities which emphasize grammar practice, allowing little space for English for communication purpose, and consequently students tend to lack an engagement and motivation when learning English, viewing it as a meaningless activity divorced from their everyday realities. And then, strengthened by empirical studies, since young learners are immersed in the world of social media and technology. Strengthened by empirical studies, since young learners are immersed in the world of social media and technology, they are accustomed to interacting multimodally through pictures, audio, and video. Storytelling within a familiar context using digital tools such as digital video editor or photo editor can potentially build engagement within the EFL learning context. These digital tools are particularly useful for providing your learners with a venue for expressing their unique cultural and social voices and identities. And the last part of this introduction is, although there are numerous studies utilizing digital storytelling in English language teaching, developing materials based on local culture at the junior high school level has received less attention in the Indonesian context. Therefore, the study explores the impact of digital storytelling and local culture-based material and its potential to enhance students' engagement and learning in the English language classroom. We have done three main parts of this article. Next to the literature review. Theoretical foundation or main concept. The study is grounded into main theoretical foundation. The first one is constructivist learning theory, based on the idea that learning occurs best when students can connect new knowledge to their prior experience and cultural background. And the second two is cultural conceptualization theory. Language learning is viewed as a cognitive and cultural process where understanding and expressing cultural concepts helps learners relate to and internalize the target language. Key concept used on this article is digital storytelling or DST as a multimodal project-based learning tool to foster creativity, identity expressions and engagement. Local cultural integration, incorporating students' own cultural narrative into English learning to build personal relevance and student identity and motivation. DST is seen as a medium for expressing identity and enhancing interesting motivation. And the second two is relevant literature supporting the theory in context. Several previous studies support the effectiveness of DST in language learning. The first, based on Hefner and Lee, show that digital tools engage students by allowing multimodal interaction and personal expressions. Based on Leontas and Mannion, emphasize that DST helps learners express their identity and voice. Based on Kim and Lee, found that DST enhances motivation and identity formation through multimodal resources. And based on Sharifian, introduced the notion of cultural conceptualization, which support connecting language learning with learners' cultural schema. Author's stance and contribution to existing studies. The author advocates for a contextualized culturally embedded use of DST to bridge the gap between learners' local identities and the English language. They argue that drawing on familiar culture not only boosts vocabulary and engagement but also enhances confidence and cultural pride in young EFL learners. Their study contributes by showing how project-based DST tasks centered around Indonesian local culture can be scaffolded effectively and integrated into a packed curriculum or a practical and theoretical advancement in EFL pedagogy. This article is meant to use qualitative data instead of quantitative data. It seeks to understand students' experience, identities, and engagement in a culturally grounded learning context. The richness and complexity of the data, stories, journals, interactions require interpretation rather than measurement, making qualitative data methods the most appropriate and the powerful choice. Still related to qualitative data, the researchers collected rich descriptive data through focus group interviews, reflective journals, classroom observations, digital storytelling products. These types of data allow insight into student thinking, emotional progress, collaborative behavior, which are best explored through qualitative analysis. And you guys might wonder, is intervention occurs on the study? Yes, it is. The study implemented project-based learning interventions using digital storytelling that integrated local cultural content. This intervention was designed and scaffolded over a 10-week period, and it involved several structured activities. My clock shows 5 p.m. right now, and then we need to say goodbye as soon as possible. So see you next time guys, bye bye.